Moments after, 44-year-old Caceres was shooting corpse. Her boyfriend, Mexico ecologist Gustavo Castro Soto, was injured, but kept the assault. A paper done social the 1 week signed how a schedule to kill Caceres had been months in the manufacturing, was not an in isolation occurrence, and was the outcome of a plot comprising finance institutions, present and ex-force business management team and employees and members of the Honduras Country Safety Agent. The paper is the outcome of months of inquiry by a panel of world legislative expert. The team shaped at the query of the Caceres household and the justice of famous and native organizations of Honduras, COPINH, following both of grown concerns on the legality of the inquiry creature carried out by the government. In answer to how urge, 5 specialists in world humane rights law coordinated to explore the murder. They shaped a team named the World Consultative Team of Expert, GAIPE. The GAIPE expert, near Caceres' daughters, done a representation of the paper and its recommendations in Washington on Thursday. A top-profile ecological militant, Caceres had been guideline the native Lenca Society in a campaigning versus the many millions-dollar Agua Zarca draft. She was company founder and focal point of COPINH and a key drawing in the struggle versus plan building on the Gualcarque inland, household to the Lenca human beings. Force Business Desarrollos Energéticos Sociedad Anónima, DISA, owns and operates the Agua Zarca draft, that has now been put on conduct. 8 detained in inquiry. 8 suspects include so far been detained in connect in Caceres die, on to the Honduras lawyer Jen's office space. They involve a ex-servant of DISA who treated as its head of safety, a officer for DISA's Public and Ecological Issues Division, a ex-Honduras war general and a main in the nation's gunman forces who was yet in busy war term at the period of his detention. But Caceres' household and supporters include ever kept how where were lot more than individuals implicated in her murder. GAIPE's paper alleges how business management team of DISA, country agents and officials were implicated in planner, running and trying to lead up her assassination. A year with the inquiry began and 20 months following the murder, to include a conduct on the plotters of the criminality, a consumer demand how has been a precedence, a basic precedence. Where is so lot gratification, she told. The paper state how strategies utilized by DISA's shareholders, management team, link and employees, turned on observation, threats, agreement murder, tamper of COPINH's communicating machinery, co-optation of judiciary officials and safety forces, and enhancing of concurrent structures to country safety forces. These methods, the paper says, were, to monitoring, neutralize and remove any opposition. Force Business DISA has rejected any participation in Caceres die. Agua Zarca had offered a dialogue for world spreadsheet, designed at solution the dispute, that GAIPE discarded indicating how the is not portion of its mission statement, on to the Agua Zarca Declaration. The declaration as well told GAIPE members had affirmed the team was creature financed by COPINH, an organization in Honduras how is promotion specific candidacies in the nation, front of the elections. Agua Zarca is completely severed of any act of abuse and the draft plant at all times in compliance in the provision of the law in Honduras, the business told. We include not identified a solitary new reality. WhatsApp and lyrics messages called to in the paper were done accessible to all concerned parties by the Honduras judiciary in January 2017. As for the produce of the paper creature policy, Altholtz told it was liberated a year of while the inquiry begun. We solved to produce it now since the paper was prepared currently. I don't aware if where is always a nice period to produce a paper on a penal pattern accountable for a assassination and a army of some crimes, she told, addition, that has anything to do in the poll. A faction of the testimony GAIPE began studying in November 2016, analyzing texts, GPS data and urge roundwood liberated by the Honduras lawyer Jen's office space. But the team told it just acquired a faction of the current testimony. We're worried in which is event in the otherwise of the information, Altholtz told. He's really essential how information be protected, since if we were capable to go to the really harassing conclusions relying on the little sum of data we were taking into account, we can fair think which type of further data is in the ownership of the social ministry. GAIPE's paper as well alleges how more than human beings were implicated in which it telephone call a penal web how turned on members of the Honduras Secretary of Safety, the nation's safety agent. The secretary played two roles, the paper state, lacked to defend Berta Cã's, in spite threats to her lifetime, and deployment staff and asset for the Protect of Agua Zarca draft means, affecting by its relations in DISA's shareholders and management team. The paper as well claims how finance institutions supporting Agua Zarca, consisting the Netherlands Growth Financial Establishment, FMO, and FinFund, were found to include been deliberately careless, in lack to honor native communities and his humane rights as so as defending Cáceres. Altholtz, of GAIPE, told she believes these institutions were completely aware of the discord and bloodbath the draft engendered. We aware how the World Banks had employed at-the-ground consultants to estimate the dispute and safety system creature executed by the business, she told. Or the data as necessary to be done social, since they could show data on the penal pattern or the penal web accountable for Berta's assassination. Same trial, and unconstitutional events how happened, it is precise the lawyer Jen's office space was implicated, told Soto. Which's following time the paper's conclusions are seen as a win by the Cáceres household and COPINH, Cáceres' child, Bertita, told the struggle is far of above. Same plotters are strong human beings and he's not departure to be lightweight, not just to include them seized, but to include them stay test and be punished for possessing participated in the criminality, she told. Possessing finished its paper, GAIPE has proposed its recommendations to the Honduras by the government and some organizations. We encourage how the present prosecutorial and agents accountable for the inquiry be remote, how a new crew be put in location, how is freelance and unbiased, how an comprehensive inquiry be carried out, how identifies, prosecutes and punishes the intelligent authors and the content authors of the criminality, Altholtz told. GAIPE's life and the fight for true and judiciary in the instance very reflects the courage of the household members, COPINH and some organizations. COPINH has very incurred inconceivable attacks above the recent 5-year, Altholtz told. We found testimony of smudge campaigns to compromise the organization, via pay informants, hitmen, by sabotaging his communicating system. I include to feast his courage and definition. Deadliest location to protect the earth. Meantime, a guard dog team has alerted of increasing dangerous situation in Honduras, particularly for environmentalists. Following the paper is divulged, which is departure to occur to COPINH? Which is departure to occur to my household? The standard of risk goes upwards, Carrillo told. Fair since we introduced the paper doesn't indicate all is penalty. They're fair manufacturing themselves a goal since they must. How's which Berta did? She risked her lifetime. Bertita told COPINH will not offer up. We will go on to struggle for the true, for judiciary, for enabling that doesn't occur once again and for the compensation and struggle for Berta Cáceres.